episode that's going to talk about the incredible on-screen and off-screen life accomplishments of our beautiful queen of space, Nichelle Nichols, who passed away this week. And we're also going to check out the wild and unhinged craziness of everything, everywhere, all at once, and the comic horror of the Sandman. So, but first, we want to pay our respects and to say hey to our two fellow hosts here. Say hey to the people, Patrick.
Hey to the people. Here we are.
Our guru of all things Star Wars and what is it? Model creator extraordinaire. David, say hey to the people.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Really looking forward to talking to you tonight about these wonderful programs and the life and contributions of really an amazing individual. We'll be back. I know Pam will be kind of leading us in that conversation tonight. But grab some popcorn, get a seat, and we're looking forward to chatting with you this evening.
Yeah, and this week was a little tough for me this week. My touchstone and somebody I personally admired a lot, who served as a role model and inspiration, Nichelle Nichols, the beautiful, not just Uhura, but Nichelle Nichols' accomplishment outside of Star Trek became something that changed the course of space, literally, on this planet. So let's take a look at the incredible documentary Woman in Motion about Nichelle Nichols.
For most of the world, Nichelle Nichols is Lieutenant Uhura, pop culture icon. But what they don't know is that she changed the space program forever.
I grew up believing that I could become anything I wanted to be.
Father told me that from the time I was a child.
Astronaut Corps was really kind of the old boys club.
You've always wanted to go here. I said, yeah, but they don't want me here.
And on that basis, I completely stopped my career and set up a grueling schedule.
Nichols came on TV one day, and she was in a blue flight suit.
Hi, I'm Nichelle Nichols.
And she pointed at me and she said, I want you to join the astronaut program.
This is your NASA.
I always have optimism because I always know that if something is not right, you can change it.
Now, sometimes the word influencer is bandied about with people, but when you say influencer, I want you to think about Nichelle Nichols. This is a woman who, when she spoke to NASA about, hey, what's going on? Why aren't my people represented in NASA? She took the challenge on to actually go out and find women and minority candidates for the space program. And the documentaries about her, in 4 months, they went from 1,000 applicants, mostly or all, well, they're mostly white men, to 8,000 applicants with almost 2,000 women and 800 qualified minority candidates. And those candidates, the ones they selected, became the first class of a diverse NASA program. And NASA, to this day, directly attributes their diversity in their space program to the wonderful Nichelle Nichols. And some of us talk about change. We're going to do change. But she actually change things. And more than that, she touched a lot of lives. And when you look at the documentary and you see Mae Jemison talk about the impact that she had on her life, it really makes a difference. Excuse me. So definitely, and she impacted my life as well. That was the one bucket list thing I had. I didn't get a chance to do, was to meet her in person. But her helping young people, young African Americans, young women to understand their importance in this, not just the space program, but to STEM in general, really has impacted what we know today as STEM and the push for women and minorities to go into these programs. So definitely she is a role. This documentary is definitely something that everyone should watch to understand the impact she's had, not just on a small group, but Americans. So, Patrick, what did you think of it?
Oh, it was delightful. I mean, I think I'd seen it when it first came out, like, which was well before her passing. She was always a proponent of getting out there, and you know what, and just what you're kind of talking about, visibility does matter, and all these people that are upset about seeing gay people on TV and all this stuff. You know what? This is how people get comfortable with this stuff. I mean, you know what? She got out there and like, she said, "Mama, someone said, that she's not a maid. She's a black woman on TV." And that's how you start telling people that you don't have to just be a maid. You could be the communication officer of the enterprise. I mean, you can go places, do things. I mean, she was really a trailblazer, and there's a lot of stuff in there that I didn't know, and as I rewatched it, I kind of remember some of the stuff about, like, where she sang with Count Basie's band and stuff. I mean, she had a very varied career, and the stuff she did after the Star Trek was as you touched on very very eloquently, really impressive stuff. I mean, she really went out there and blazed a trail for a lot of people.
And not just science, but telling women at that time who were relegated to secretarial roles or the sidekick kind of roles. When you watch Star Trek and you saw her, that scene that's really pivotal at that time is not just the kiss, but the scene where she takes the place of, I think it was Sulu, and navigates the ship. I mean, incredible at that time. And that she was not just, a handmaiden on the ship. She was a lieutenant, and later on in the movies, a commander. And so she was somebody that at that time you didn't see in movies or television or anything. So Gene Roddenberry really was pivotal in bringing that to life, but it was her and her character and her demeanor that carried that role into the stratosphere. And David, you had heard some of the stories too about it.
Oh, very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Nichelle Nichols, and certainly we give our condolences to all of family and friends of hers who truly know her. But the impact that she has had in her work with NASA, her work in film, I think really can speak for itself. One of the things, and we can be motivated, we can kind of be inspired by film and by fiction, and what Roddenberry did for this, this wagon trail of the in space, as it was kind of promoted. This show was an incredible thing in the late 1960s as the country was kind of on fire, and in many places across the country, war and all the issues. And what you had with his vision was, we made it. We survived it. We got through all of our differences. We saw each other with a sense of equality and respect, and the humanity made it. And Nichelle Nichols, as a part of this amazing ensemble cast, really did that. And I think in ways, and it's extraordinary as someone who loves the show and loved the characters, and yes, had all the action figures from Mego and had those and the other versions as well. I'm struck, and I guess I feel a little, I'm still learning at 51, the impact it was for people to see her on screen. For Dr. Martin Luther King to say, don't be discouraged by your role. Being visible on that bridge, on that ship, sends a huge message. And then for NASA to work with her, to reach out, and she spearhead this movement. Science fiction, Star Trek has inspired countless people across the country, across the globe, to think about how to do things to improve and how to bring these technologies to real life. With our scanning technology today, with some of those things, and her impact. And again, I speak from a position of ignorance, but I can hear it and I see it. I see it in your beautiful face tonight, Pam, as you're talking about this, with what she said and what she represented. She inspired people and gave them the confidence and to say this is possible. And that's an amazing thing. And shame on all of us that wasn't always there for all of us. But we're striving for a more perfect union. Her contributions leading to that. And, God bless her for what she did. And also, yes, just all the joy that she and that wonderful cast brought to us. NASA jumped on very early. The first space shuttle, the prototype was called Enterprise. We've seen, some of us have seen those great photos of that leisure suits and all the great stuff from the 70s, and they were there. And just what an amazing and extraordinary thing that Star Trek has done. What an amazing, incredible thing that Nichelle Nichols has done for us. Because when all of us, as long as one person is disenfranchised, we are all disenfranchised. And bravo to her for being truly a great American and how she lived her life. So you're in our hearts, Nichelle, and certainly our prayers and thoughts to those who knew you best and loved you. But what you've done for this country, for people across the world, being an actor can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
She did some great stuff. So God bless her.
So anytime people out there, you don't think that what you do makes a difference, one person, she was one person, and she had a huge footprint on this world. Just one person. So you out there also have the ability to change lives. So do it in the right way. And so now we're going to toast to the Queen of Space, Nichelle Nichols. And kudos, and she lived life and she prospered.
That's good.
Okay. Anywho, chokes me up. So let's look at the next craziness.
Okay.
Another person I want to meet. This ship, but in this plane of existence. Everything, everywhere, all at once. It was something else. Let's take a peek.
I was just hoping you could enlighten me as to how, as a laundromat owner, a karaoke machine could constitute a business expense.
I am a singer.
The universe is so much bigger than you realize.
Don't make fight you. I'm good.
I don't believe you.
And that doesn't even talk about the hot dog fingers. Y'all gonna have to talk about it. David, tell us what you thought of everything everywhere all at once.
For full disclosure, everybody, when I saw this, I was starting to feel the effects of COVID-19. And I was like, is this really happening? Are those trophies,
I thought that too.
are those trophies really behind Jamie Lee Curtis? And oh my gosh, look how those trophies are used later in the movie. It's a family show, so I'm going to get into that. What a bizarre, crazy, funny. I'm so glad they didn't have better special effects because the cheesiness of it made it it's like nothing I've ever seen before. I'm not sure if it's like anything I want to see again, but it is something. And it's something for everyone. I guess it's kind of like It's a Wonderful Life and Scrooged on acid. Maybe that's the best way to describe this.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Huh. That's an interesting take on it.
Well, it was COVID. Who knows?
Yeah, no. It's not you, babe. Patrick, what do you think?
Okay, I'm a big Marvel dude. And I love the Multiverse of Madness, but this was the best multiverse movie this year. It was way better than Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so
I agree.
ridiculously awesome. And the Jamie Lee Curtis cameo was just so awkward and horrible and awesome. I mean, everything about this movie was just, they dialed it to 11. There was no 10. There was no 9s.
No.
It was everything, everywhere, all at once. I mean, it was. And I mean, it was just, it was like a bad acid trip to just on screen. And it was just everything. And it was the googly eye for the third eye and stuff. I mean, there was just so much ridiculousness that was just so, it's hard to describe how over the top and just, but every bit of ridiculousness was appropriate for what they were using it for. I mean, it was amazing. This is one of my favorite movies so far this year. I'm not gonna lie.
It is so okay. So y'all know how I feel, but I have to say, I didn't hate it, which is big for me. This kind of stuff. It was so weird. But what I appreciate is the originality of it. It was just so, the images that were coming at you and the cinematography and kind of the twisty weirdness of the daughter. But at its core, which is a lesson today, it's about familial acceptance. Parents accepting your children. Generationally accepting your family. And so once I kind of understood that's what it was about, then I kind of then could put all the other stuff and just watch it for that. And Michelle Yeoh, if she don't get an Academy Award nomination out of it, and the amazing elder James Hong once again comes back at 94, I think.
Well, he's pretty damn old.
94 or 96, still out there killing the game. And it's just incredible. I mean, it's a mind blower. Don't smoke weed or take drugs while you're watching it, because you will lose your mind, especially the hot dog finger.
That's right.
don't know who comes up with hot dog finger universe.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't there be? If there's every and the rocks, just the rocks.
Rock.
Where is the Rice Krispie treat world? That's what David Lopan wants to know.
You mean the 7-foot tall guy that spouted magic out of his mouth, or the old guy in the chair? Which David Lopan?
That's right. First you see him, then you don't.
Oh my gosh! Just something. If you want something different, you tired of the same old,
You go watch this. I can't.
Go watch this.
I mean, really.
This will trip your mind out.
And the thing is, it was fun, because there's been movies. I think about movies that trip your mind out. Like the movie that I think of which was a real mind bender, was Memento, but it was not fun.
Yes,
but it wasn't fun.
Yeah,
it was not fun at all.
It was dark.
It was dark. This was fun.
It was happy.
Yeah, and this one you could, but it wasn't always happy.
No.
There were some dark themes in there.
Yeah, but it was.
And I think that the way that they approached them was so unique, and tragic. I mean, there's some tragic stuff going on too, but just I love stuff like this when it's unique and different, weird.
That's right.
Yeah.
But now, I hope you all will join me though in reaching out to the Internal Revenue Service. I want a FOIA request to see if anyone's S&E, that salary and expenses budget, goes to awards like that.
Oh man,
I want to know if that's
I'm trying not to even remember that part. I was just like, oh, that is disgusting.
I have to know. So I'm doing a Freedom of Information Act request to know what kind of awards IRS agents get, because if it's anything remotely like those things that on Jamie Lee Curtis's desk.
Art imitates life sometimes. I'm just saying, art imitates life.
Well, my thing is, now see, that was the only part of the movie where I was like, I could have done without that. I didn't like that. But so what? Everything else was so kooky, crazy.
It's a whole new meaning to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh, you get out of here!
Let your freak flag fly. Who cares?
Get out of here with that.
Hidden Dragon.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
I went there. Yep.
I think we all agree that definitely watch Everything Everywhere all at once. And then you can let us know in the comments what you really think of it. So
it'll give you COVID.
Definitely check it out.
Wow. It didn't give it to me. I mean, come on. Causation versus causality.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So now we're up to the second weird one of the night. And the creatures of the night enter this dream world of the Sandman. Let's take a peek.
There is another life which awaits you when you close your eyes and enter my realm. This way. For I am the king of dreams.
He will escape into your dreams. And you don't want that.
I knew you would return.
The dreaming must be restored.
Whatever's happening, however it's happening, your dreams are coming true.
I'm worried about my brother.
I need your help. If dreams disappear, then so will humanity.
You have to do something. What power have dreams in hell?
Now, of course, we have to turn it over first to the man who's our Marvel guru.
Okay, now technically that's DC, but I'm not.
Oh, it's DC. Well, you're comic.
It's totally DC. with the Constantine character, you know,
Yes.
the Jerry Coleman character. That's definitely DC. And
Hey, can I ask this? I thought it was John Constantine. Does Joanna show up in Sandman?
No, I'm not. No, it was John in the actual.
Yeah,
in the actual
it's
graphic
John
novel.
Constantine.
They decided, you know, and hey, you know what? Neil Gaiman's the executive producer on this. He had his fingers and everything. If you wanted to make it Joanna, more power to you. Go on. No big deal.
I just didn't know if
I'm not that
the comic.
attached. I'm not that attached to the canonical portion of this. I mean, I'm familiar with it and I loved it. I did the audiobooks. I didn't do the actual comic books. They're on order. But that was amazing. Everything about that had such a wonderful feel to it. Such great performances. I mean, really, everybody in it did spectacular. Weird associations that I had with it when watching the what was the Florentine or whatever they called him, the one of the three that escaped and wouldn't come back out, the mass murderer. Corinthian. I kept thinking of the Merovingian from like Matrix, you know, because it was another similar name, another weird thing. You know, just for whatever reason, you know, as an outsider kind of thing. So wonderful. I mean, and they did a really good job of kind of visualizing stuff. And I mean, everybody was cast really well. I know there were some.
Okay, I got an issue with one of the casting, but go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no! I'll address these points as they come up. Let's go. Who is it?
Gwendolyn Christie
as Lucifer.
Yes, no.
Why?
How do I say this?
I don't know. How do you say this?
Yeah, how do you say it, Pam? What's going on?
I didn't buy her as Lucifer Morningstar, the most beautiful, the most powerful, the most. I kept thinking as I watched it, who would I cast? I would have cast, of course, Cate Blanchett. The woman in Ted Lasso. Hannah Waddingham, could have casted her.
I mean, that's
Margot Robbie, maybe.
No.
Selma Hayek.
No.
Not Gwenda.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep back in the day. Sharon Stone back in the day.
What kind of film did you want to have with Sharon Stone in it, Pam? Come on.
Well, I mean, she could have definitely been the great seducer. I'm just saying.
I mean,
well, you know, the thing about Gwendolyn is that she
just wasn't right.
She had enough physicality to portray this massive. I mean, she pulled it off all those years in Game of Thrones as Brienne of Tarth, and it's hard for people to get past that. To be really honest,
now her acting. I think it was the look. I think her acting of the role I liked because I love the villain.
You were upset about her hairstyle, or what?
And I just felt like she was maybe. Ooh, I hate to say this. Maybe they needed somebody younger.
No,
I'm sorry.
I mean,
I couldn't get into. I could get into her characterization of it. I thought she was. I mean, I love a kind of snaky, not intensely angry kind of person, but inside, like holding it completely controlled.
I totally read that. I mean, I read that she was pissed about everything and very snarky about things.
Yeah.
I mean, she was obviously.
Yeah.
I won't say that she.
But it didn't come out like rage. It came out, very controlled.
Well, I mean, to be honest, if you want to go,
I loved it. I loved it.
With biblical depictions, the Lucifer did not come in as a raging bull to seduce Adam and Eve. He came as a quiet snake and led them to the things and found the
Yeah.
weak link and pushed it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had no problems with her. I think
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought to be honest, all the casting was
there was something
spot
else
on.
too. But
Pretty
I'll
spot
come
on.
back. I'll let you guys talk, and then I'll talk about some things that troubled me.
I thought it was just I thought it was a wonderful adaptation. It had good pacing. The special effects were solid. I mean, and for the most
the
part,
special effects were beautiful.
I mean, it was well shot. I mean, to tell you that, and to be honest, it was fairly close to the actual written work. So I mean, it did a good job of I mean, there were some things, and they took some things out of sequence, and in each one of the little stories, to a certain extent, each chapter or each episode did a good job of encapsulating a mini story, perhaps in the overall arcing, which Star Trek, like some of the Discovery, has had trouble doing.
Right.
Making individual episodes that continue an overall narrative. They did a real good job of having individual episodes which moved the overall narrative along without becoming bogged down and trying to make an overall narrative.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. Well done. I enjoyed it. I just finished it up today. Of course, it just dropped last night.
Of course.
So, I mean, I totally binge watched it, and there will be a second season of it. There's still more material having come close to. So, I mean, really, really good. And I am so proud. And, if you haven't read Neil Gaiman books, you should be reading his books.
Yeah.
His books are smart, and this guy don't take shit from nobody. I mean, on Twitter and stuff, people are like, well, I don't agree with this cast. He's like, look, I wrote this. I know what it's supposed to look like. Sit down, shut, or go crawl back in your mom's basement or whatever you got to do. So, really good. I highly recommend this. I loved it.
Yeah. David, what did you think?
Well, I found it very good. I was a little taken aback by the name. I thought this was going to be like an introspective show of Logan's Run, and I was
what the hell?
I got the
Sandman.
Sandman.
That's got it.
Going deep back.
That is a deep back. So Logan 5 and Jessica 6. I was disappointed with that. This was really wonderful. The acting, I thought, was superb. I just think the cast was great. I love Gwendolyn. I think it's fantastic anytime we get to see her. So I applauded her role. And, Jenna Coleman, man, it was fantastic again to see her. One of the best parts of Doctor Who. And she's done a wonderful job in a lot of other pieces as Victoria and some other things. So I thought she was great to have in this. Different pieces, and you can kind of follow suit with the long arch, little episodic, which I thought was good. The episode with Death, man, that was very powerful. And I have to say, it really kind of turned me in the way I was looking at it. It was really very poignant and touching, and it took me in a different direction. And I really think it's, in a surprising way with this show. And all jokes aside about the Logan's Run and the Sandman, I thought this was really well done. You're in for a treat if you watch these episodes. I am sorry that it dropped last night, and we're talking about it with such a short time to kind of go through it. But this was a good thing to watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And okay, so I hear you. And I agree on many levels. But there are a couple of things that bothered me that I was like, So I think if you're going to do race neutral casting, okay, you have to think about the story and what you're depicting on the camera. So I had a problem with this young black boy being tortured by these white parents. That bothered me. And I didn't like that. And that just kind of those episodes and scenes that just
it was meant to be disturbing. It didn't matter what race the individual was. It was meant to be disturbing.
That did matter because I didn't want to see this white couple torturing this black boy. That was a problem for me. I think if they had not done that, I mean, that just hit me a little different. so I just kind of took me out of, kind of the fantasy of it. And that could be my issue, but I might not be alone in it. So I think you have to kind of be careful with some. I mean, he do what he wants. It's his product, it's his thing. But I'm just saying, for me, when I was watching it, I ain't like that. So that kind of, I was like, I don't like that. And then I don't know, I appreciated the race neutral casting, but then I was kind of like, well, I'm not seeing other races in it either. I would have kind of wanted to see maybe some people from like South Asia, some Asians, and some like Latinos or something. I don't know. If you're gonna do it, put everybody in there like they did on Star Pack. Just put everybody in there then. And so I kind of was like, oh, okay. But I did appreciate the stories, the battle between Dream and Lucifer Morningstar, which in Constantine the movie, when Gabriel is talking to Lucifer and she's calling him all these names, and he's like, oh, I miss the old titles. And, that was so cool. That just kind of reminded me of that. And the episode of Death and Dream gifting life to Robert what was his name? Gadling?
Yeah, Gadding or something.
Gadsden, I think his first name. And then he lived and he lost everything and was down and out. And he's like, well, you want to give it up? No, I'm still in the game. I'm gonna turn it around. I love that episode. That was it was a nice kind of palate cleanser from the kind of darkness of the battle with Death. But yeah, there's just some. I thought that episode with the guy who had the ruby and the diamond.
I was just about to say.
Oh, wow.
He was absolutely the best actor in the whole thing. I got to tell you.
Oh, David Thewlis. I think that's his name.
I mean,
David Thewlis. He's amazing.
Oh,
that wasn't my favorite episode.
So good.
It was good.
Dark, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit too much for me. Y'all know I don't like horror, so that one kind of, I was like, I was too much like this throughout the episode.
It had an Edgar Allan Poe feel to it.
It really did.
Yeah. And I just, not that one, but some of the other ones, and I'm still not quite sure about Desire's plan with Despair. I don't know if they gave enough time to it.
They didn't. That's going to be second season type of stuff. You watch. I mean, because that whole storyline develops out quite a bit more. And from what I've heard, Desire was the most controversial in the the interwebs about the casting, because in the actual graphic novel, Desire's a female, and this was a very androgynous kind of and the actual actor is, I believe, identifies as male, or I'm not sure exactly what their particular gender status is, but there was a lot of like oh my gosh, wringing of the hands,
and a lot about death too.
People
made a big stink about Death too. Who's beautiful.
In the audiobook, Death was played by Kat Denning, and that was an interesting choice, just to listen to her voice as Death. I never saw her, but in my mind, I saw her doing the part. So it was an interesting look, and it was an interesting choice, and I thought it was appropriate, perfectly appropriate.
Yeah, and Galt, that was an interesting choice for Galt, and the actress, I was like, wow, she's beautiful. I mean, it just wouldn't occur to me, and I was like, how interesting, that character, and then the transformation, I was like, wow. And then, of course, Stephen Fry, who's always incredible. And
Fiddler,
great.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just, I just love him. And so it's definitely weird. It's definitely
so good.
beautifully. The imagery is beautiful. Some of the things in there just kind of blew my mind. It was so like wow, creative. Just some things that took it from being like 100% to me to being like 90. So, but that's me. But I think we can all agree it's definitely great and people should watch it.
Something to see, definitely.
Yeah, it's something, it can be controversial. It's only controversial if you got an issue with stuff. Otherwise, you know what? Grow up and think about things not just about you, but think about the creativity it takes to create something like this. And if you can't appreciate it, then that's on you. So it's absolutely this definitely was a week of brilliant, like they say in English, brilliant movies and TV and documentaries. It's about that time, fellas. So why don't we say goodnight, David?
Everybody,
words for the peoples.
I do, Pam. It's so good to have my voice back. I'd like to thank our producer for taking me out of the penalty box or whatever mute button he'd kept there. I don't know what I did to deserve that last week, but it's great to be back with you. Everybody have a wonderful week. Andor has been postponed until September 21st.
Yeah.
So there is an amazing trailer out of it. So watch that and be ready to go. But until we meet again, happy trails, everybody.
All right. Patrick, what you got to say?
Not a lot. Not a lot. We haven't already said it. Just keep watching shows and keep supporting your local movie theaters. That's how they keep making these movies. And I guess in the immortal words of Stanley, Excelsior.
And you know what? Thanks to our fans in India who came out and showed up and showed out. We have over 3,000, almost 3,500 views of our show from last week. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to watch more Indian film industry movies. So
Apu trilogy. We're going to watch it.
God.
Dr. Benford will be proud. The Apu trilogy, classic Bollywood, coming to PJammaLyfe. We're going to make that happen, everybody.
Maybe. We're going to put some recent things we see on Netflix, Bahubali, some other things that are out there, just so we can support different film industries. Because if they making them like RRR, I'm in. Y'all got me. So come back, subscribe. Thank you to our fans out there. Thanks to the Queen of Space, Nichelle Nichols. And thanks to you for watching. And we'll see you next time on PJammaLyfe. Take care. Bye.
So long, everybody.